I find this concept of value so fascinating. And
Mm,
by the way, I want to make a caveat to our listeners. I think Ed and I think alike 99% of the time. So
mhm,
I'm going to look for things to disagree with him about just so that we can have a good conversation.
mhm,
But I'll point out things that I think I read his book, his new ebook, and there are things in there that it's like made me think. And I said,
mhm.
oh, that was really good. And then there are things that it's like, no, I wouldn't have said it that way. I would do it differently. So, but great. Let's dive into this if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's talk about the ebook because I'd love to get more people aware of it.
Yeah. Well, so I'm going to pop into page 7
Hmm.
of the ebook,
Hmm.
and you've defined value in page 7.
Right.
And I have to tell you, I'm pretty that's probably the one thing I'm most unhappy about. If you want to know the truth,
No kidding.
is I don't like the definition.
Oh boy. Okay, let's go.
So let's read it.
Yeah.
Number one, whatever the customer thinks it is,
Right.
okay, I could kind of buy that. It's just not very useful, right? I mean, true, but not useful.
Okay.
A combination of logic, 80% emotion, 20%, I'm sorry, 80% logic, 20% emotion for B2B products. By the way,
Yes.
I agree with that. I think that's great, right? I still don't think it answers the question of how do we use it for anything.
Hmm.
And so then we get to the last one. And this is the closest, primarily an economic argument that is accepted by the customer in terms of potential margin gain from cost savings, revenue growth, asset efficiency. By the way, I agree with that if we said we're only talking about B2B
Yes.
and we said we're not talking about personas or individual buyers inside a company.
Um, Not sure if I totally agree with that. I think I know what you're getting at. If you're looking at the holistic health, financial health of the company, the definition fits really well. But individuals
Right.
have their own agendas, etc. Which brings up the point that when you're talking about value, and I'm glad you made the distinction between B2B and B2C because they are different animals. I think there is value in the B2C world. It's a different game completely, right? We can talk about
Yeah.
that. But B2C, B2B, especially if you're selling a more complex solution, you have to talk to multiple people at at the customer company. You just have to. And
Yep.
one of the things I learned very early in this business is that procurement is not your main stakeholder.
Gosh, yes.
Well, let's talk
Okay.
about
So
the perception piece because the first part, because that's an interesting topic, I think.
um, okay, go ahead. Tell me why
Well, you
you
said you
like it.
disagree with it.
No. I said it's okay. I said I agree with it,
Mhm.
but it's not useful. I
Well,
can't use it personally as a business person.
well, that's because it's just the short sentence. But what I mean by that is, you when you're trying to understand what value is, you have to accept the fact that customers have their own ideas of what value is, right? And so some people think that value is some scientifically proven concept, right? That you can actually measure it and say, yeah, the value of this product is exactly 18.35, right? And it's not because for the reason being that, it's based on economics, which is a social science, not a physical science. So a lot of it is based on human behavior, which we know is not rational and perception is it. So you have to realize that customers have very clear ideas about value. Now, the thing about perception is that one, it's dynamic, right? So what I think is valuable changes from minute to minute depending on my mood and my circumstances. That's certainly true for consumers, but for businesses that's also very, very true. And the other thing is that perception can be influenced, which is the other point. And so this idea that, customers' perceptions and it can be influenced, I think is a very useful concept for people to understand because then it makes you do the right things to position your product on value. Because if you think that value is just that scientifically proven number, and when we first started at Leverage Point, that's what really clients wanted to hear. They wanted that number, like what's the meaning of the universe from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe. They wanted that number. They didn't know what it mean, but they thought if they had that number, they'd be able to price and everything would align. And I just to say no, it's not. It's definitely not that. It's something that you need to make the case for, which is really what parts 2 and 3 of that definition get at.